So let's talk about Bitcoin Cash for a minute. So I think that few dispute that you have the right to create a fork of Bitcoin and market it as that. I think that people take issue with you using Bitcoin.com as one of the ways that you promote that, although you do own it. So clearly you have the right to do that too. How do you feel about forks of Bitcoin broadly, and specifically, like, what was kind of the impetus to push down the Bitcoin Cash path rather than to stay with sort of the network consensus around what is commonly known as Bitcoin?
So to clarify one point, I had absolutely nothing to do with the creation of Bitcoin Cash, and I didn't switch to promoting Bitcoin Cash until after it had already been in existence for, I think, 3 or 4 months. But the impetus for that was there was a scaling attempt to allow Bitcoin to continue to be money for the world. And it was called the SegWit 2x agreement, where SegWit, which is, if you're deep into crypto, you already know what that is. If not, don't worry about it. And the block size were going to be upgraded from 1 megabyte to 2 megabytes, which would, if you do both those things, you're going to get more than double as many transactions available on the Bitcoin network. If you do just the 1 megabyte to 2 megabyte, you double. Add SegWit, it's a little bit more on top of that. Anyhow, for whatever reason, the SegWit portion of that agreement was activated first. And then all of a sudden, everybody came out of the woodwork. A bunch of people that weren't running businesses. Bitcoin, the big block version of Bitcoin that eventually kind of became Bitcoin Cash, it had more hash rate, it had more businesses, it had more users, it had more community support, clearly, without any doubt whatsoever. But then all of a sudden, all these people that weren't running businesses, didn't have customers, didn't do much of anything other than be loud on the internet, came out there opposing the 2 megabyte upgrade to Bitcoin. And when that 2 megabyte upgrade eventually was aborted, I had to look around the world and say, okay, well, if I want a tool that can enable every human being on the planet to be able to send and receive any amount of money with any other human being on the planet, Bitcoin can't do that. It's not going to do that with 1 megabyte blocks. It's impossible for Bitcoin to do that. So there's a whole bunch of other cryptocurrencies out there. Which one do I think is the most likely to bring the most economic freedom to the most people around the world in the shortest amount of time? And I looked at all the different cryptocurrencies out there, and Bitcoin Cash was the one that was at the top of my list. Others were interesting, but I think Bitcoin Cash has the best shot at bringing the most economic freedom to the most people around the world right now today. And an example of that, if you're watching this and you've never used cryptocurrency ever before, it's impossible for you to get $1 of Bitcoin. You can't do it. The fees are too high on the network. It's impossible for you to even get $5 of Bitcoin because the fees are too high. But if you email me, roger@bitcoin.com, I'm sorry, roger@rogerver.com for this, I'll email you back $5 in Bitcoin Cash on chain. Impossible to do on Bitcoin. So that's an example. If you're brand new to cryptocurrency, you could never even get $5 of Bitcoin and hold it yourself. You'd have to use a custodian. But if you're using a custodian, why not just use your regular bank with dollars again? You're kind of right back where you started. So it's so incredibly important that people are able to transact directly with the cryptocurrency on chain, which means it has to have fast, cheap, reliable transactions. And the way to do that is to allow the block size to get as big as it needs to be, which is exactly what Satoshi Nakamoto said early on in his involvement in Bitcoin.
So I've been using the Lightning Network an increasing amount over the last couple of months. Technology long in development, intended to be built on top of Bitcoin and potentially other protocols, that allows you to use Bitcoin or something like it as sort of the settlement layer or the kind of source of truth, but to do kind of arbitrarily small transactions using something like the Lightning Network. Now, I believe you're correct about the on-chain nature of Bitcoin. It would be, let's just call it, inefficient to buy and receive $1 worth of Bitcoin at current prices, at current fees. But how does kind of the Lightning Network play into that? Do you not see that as a solution to this problem?
It's clearly not a solution to this problem. So to onboard a new person who's never used Bitcoin or Lightning ever before, it costs over $100 to do that right now today. A bank doesn't charge you $100 to open a new bank account. Why are you going to pay $100 to be able to just start using the Lightning Network? It's just absolutely ridiculous, and the user experience is atrocious every time I've tried to use it. And I'm curious to hear from you, Adam. If you met somebody who's never used crypto before and you wanted to get them involved in Lightning, what wallet would you tell them to get, and where would they begin, and what's the easiest way to do that?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge around Lightning right now is that you need to run a full node in order to actually participate on that network. But I've recently been experimenting with a project called Sphinx Chat, which effectively allows you to pay, I think it's $2 or $4 as a one-off payment. And then they run a node for you, and then you can use the Lightning Network and you get, 2,000 or 4,000 Satoshis, which is obviously a lot less than the $4. But I mean, I had the same problem, honestly, with Lightning for a really long time. And I've run, full nodes, and we've set up tip things and things like that. But this most recent batch of technology actually does appear to be really quite usable. I'm not sure if you've checked it out yet, but again, like the idea of Lightning, streaming Satoshis via the Lightning Network while you're listening to a podcast to the podcaster is something that I think is starting to pick up steam. And again, as a podcaster, I think it's pretty cool.
As a podcaster, that's great. And I'm not familiar with Sphinx Chat or the name
Sphinx
there,
Chat,
but
yeah.
in order to pay them the $4 to set up your full node watchtower to watch your Lightning Network, are you going to pay them, you're going to pay $50 in Bitcoin fees to do that? How do you pay them the first $4 if you don't already have a Lightning Network?
Well, you pay with a credit card. That much is true.
Sounds awfully censorable to me.
So that's fair. All right, Roger. Well, I appreciate your time today.